Once a business has determined its target market, the business must then understand the market in order to provide products and services which best satisfy needs and wants of the targeted customer. To learn about its target market, businesses use market research. Market research is the organized effort to gather and interpret information about a market.
Market research is very important, and for a lot of reasons, but market research defined is the research that you do before going into a market. So many companies will use market research to look at developing new products. Coca-Cola in the 80s had a big issue with market research. They changed the formulation of Coca-Cola, but they didn't do any market research about it, and they found out that our consumers were really upset about it. So if they had done proper market research, they would have found out that their consumers really didn't want anyone to mess with the formula of their Coke. And so companies use it for a variety of ways. Here in higher education, we use market research to see what classes or what majors are becoming more popular. So we need to use that information to hire more faculty. If you don't measure or collect data, it's hard to make really good decisions because you're just guessing. And the market research allows you to have a quantitative or numbers-oriented data that you can actually base better decision-making off of.
Market research can be categorized in many ways. The first way to classify research is as either primary or secondary research.
In marketing research, there are companies that maybe don't have as big a budget or as much research dollars to spend who will do what we call secondary research, and that's where they go out and just kind of do discovery about what research has already been done out there, white papers, etc. So most of the marketing research I'm going to talk about is what you call primary research, and that is where you go out and you spend money with a specific objective to learn X, Y, Z.
Additionally, research can be classified as either qualitative or quantitative. Qualitative research is exploratory, in-depth research involving flexible, open-ended questions. This method attempts to generate a deep understanding of people's perceptions by focusing on observations of people in their natural environment. Qualitative research methods include interviews, observation, and small group discussions known as focus groups. Quantitative research is structured research which uses the scientific method and standardized questions to make generalizations and predictions. This method relies on generating data from a large portion of a population and using statistical analysis to understand the entire population. Quantitative research methods include questionnaires, surveys, and experiments.
Many companies will, use qualitative research and quantitative research. Some companies only use quantitative research. If you are doing qualitative, you're doing it because you want to understand why people are doing what they do. You're doing discovery. You can't actually make statistically valid decisions on those research projects because they're only done with small groups of people. And they're done with small groups of people because you can really understand what people think whenever you do it with small groups. Versus quantitative, you're doing more large-scale understanding, so you can understand maybe what customers think about your current products, or do they want attribute X, Y, or Z on a product. And so all of those should be done in a quantitative form where you're doing surveys and you're surveying hundreds or thousands of people.
Probably the most common way, and this is something that most everybody has some experience with, is through surveys. When you take a survey and you're bubbling in 1 to 5, you like or dislike, that's marketing research. So the market researcher then can take that information and find out attitudes or whatever they're trying to measure from that survey. So that's a very popular one. Or interviews is another way. In-depth interviews is a very good way. Or even having a panel of consumers together, you can really get some really good information from those consumers about specific products, their feelings towards products, or new product ideas.
Some businesses conduct their own market research, while others hire companies which conduct the research for them. Either way, there are many tools available to businesses wanting to perform market research.
quantitative research, a lot of it these days is conducted online, and there are companies, like for example, if I got a quantitative project from one of my clients, then I go out and hire a vendor who actually has a software platform and can easily distribute those surveys. I mean, there are some now that are out there for anyone, such as SurveyMonkey, you may have heard of that, and those kind of tools are a little bit more user-friendly, but maybe less statistical in their like back-end analysis. So there's tools that you use on the front end to do the data collection, and then there's tools on the back end that you use to do the analysis. Besides online, then some companies are still doing telephone surveys as well. And so again, you're going out to a large database of customers and you're doing a lot of calls or emails to get surveys based on those. And actually, in the restaurant business, there are many apps that are available through mobile where if you like get French fries and a drink or whatever, then you can immediately do a survey while you're there in the store, and that can quickly give them an immediate indication about what's going on at actual retail locations. So it's a little bit more difficult when you don't have a bricks and mortar retail store or restaurant. Those who are doing like more manufactured products, they are doing more of the traditional type of research applications.
Market research can and should be conducted at various times during the development and lifespan of the business's product or service. This allows for adjustment and adaptation to the product or service. As customers change, so must the business's products and services.
Marketing research plays a role in marketing in several different ways. First and foremost, it is in that first product development stage. So when a company is trying to determine, what the new product should be, how it should smell, how it should look, what people are wanting, is it even a good idea, they would definitely implement a qualitative research project at that point, to try to understand all of those ins and outs. So like, is this idea even a good idea or not? Well, then they might do a test after a product has launched. So let's just take chips, for example. If they're thinking about doing a watermelon tortilla chip, then they would kind of do some research to understand, is this a good idea, et cetera. And maybe the research said, maybe so. They decided to move forward with it. Well, maybe it's been in the market for 2 years and it's not selling well. And then they would decide, let's do some more research to understand, why is this product not doing well in the market? And so you would go into groups or qualitative research where you are trying to understand why not, what do you like, what do you dislike, et cetera, so then you can tweak or make changes and make what you have better. And then, as a product kind of goes through a life cycle, there are times when you have to continue seeing, how is it working, and so there are a lot of satisfaction surveys that get implemented later in the product cycle.
Once data are collected, marketers must analyze their findings in order to draw useful conclusions. This is usually completed by identifying patterns, making comparisons, and developing theories.
One of the things that happens in qualitative research that's very different than quantitative research is that the analysis is very different. With qualitative, you're talking about a lot of word data, so you either have audio, video that you're analyzing, or you have a transcript of words. Now there are actual software programs that do text analytics software, but that's actually not as meaningful as it would be if you were dealing with numbers, because if you have a word count of 100 for soft and shiny, that doesn't really not giving any kind of an indication on, I like soft and shiny hair. Does that make sense? So word analysis is more about the interpretation and seeing what the trends are and what people are saying. It's a lot about collaborating with a full team to really understand what it is we learned and what's important to take action on. So one of the challenges in my job is not only to get the information from people, but also to take all that information and make assumptions and trends and so forth based on what I'm learning. So there's some discretion, some judgment there. And then quantitative analysis, there's still discretion and judgment, but you really need a statistical analytical tool. Some of the programs now that are used more often are tools like SPSS, and those actually give you a cleaner read about exactly what the numbers are saying. So it takes judgment to say, what is it that these numbers are saying and how do I use that? But the actual analytical tool is a cleaner read when it comes to numbers.
In addition to surveys, focus groups, interviews, and other forms of market research, businesses can collect transactional data or records of customer purchases. This data can help when making marketing and business decisions and is often collected through barcode scanners, automatic replenishment systems, and other high-tech tools. Transactional data is often organized and stored by a marketing information system.
A marketing information system is defined, and it's just like what the words state out. It is an information system that gathers marketing data. Many companies use marketing information systems to help better their sales. Their salespeople will use this marketing information system to see what product's selling versus ones that aren't selling so well, and they can figure out a problem why that other one's not selling. But there's a wide variety of marketing information systems. But generally, a marketing information system is kind of similar to market research. It's set up to gather information and to give that information then to middle managers or upper managers to be able to make better, more thoughtful decisions.
With the data from market research and marketing information systems, marketers and managers are able to develop and adjust marketing efforts based on reliable information about a target market. This is important for a business to stay competitive.